Welcome to the mental edge.
I need some Waterloo, though.
But do you want to do Waterloo before?
Yeah, I want to do Waterloo. I'm going to pour it into this cup that we believe in, a friend of ours, Scott Miller. If you're looking for a real estate agent who's killer, check out Scott Miller.
Did you just make that
Yeah,
up
I
on the
made it
spot?
up, bro. But that's what I do.
That
Like
was
this
awesome.
water. You want to do a toast to Miller?
Yeah.
I mean, since he trusts us to rep for him,
Yeah.
and you could too.
No, I want to hit. Right
You don't
here.
want yeah. This gonna put hair on your.
Yeah.
All right.
Scott Miller. If you want kill, what'd you say?
Yeah. If you're looking for an agent who's killer, look no further than Scott Miller. One more time. Okay. Oh yeah. This flavor, and you're gonna understand that is watermelon. Watermelon.
Watermelon. All right,
man.
And if you
We're
want,
gonna need that board,
if you
though,
want
so-
this, if you want this spot that
Right here.
Mr. Miller
Yeah.
has, this can be available to you.
Yeah, reach out to us. Now, we believe in Scott, and he
Yeah.
trusts us. So he said, Jay, it would be amazing if you would rep me. And we said yes. So call us and let us know if that's something you're interested in.
You want to keep that one up because you got your Waterloo in there.
I got my watermelon, my Waterloo, watermelon.
Watermelon. That's awesome, man.
Fernando, I love you, brother. Thanks for coming in here today on a Friday.
Friday, yep.
Yeah.
We usually go on Thursdays, but
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
Thursday got
It was rented.
away from
Crate
us.
is busy.
Right? Crate is
Crate is crazy.
It's crazy.
Sometimes I'd be like, hey, we're going to do an episode, and then bing, my phone would go off. Next week, Fernando,
Yeah.
there'd be no days left.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good, yeah. But
Yeah.
we live a life where we can find an hour to
Yes.
put some of
Absolutely.
this stuff in. You know what I mean?
It takes a little sacrifice sometimes, right?
But that's okay.
It's okay, bro.
And you'll be going out of town, so.
Yeah. Now. I don't know. Actually, I don't know the music, Hawaiian music.
Oh, he's only doing that so he can flex his bicep on the. Go
You-
ahead, do it. Do
oh,
it.
yeah.
Do it. Yeah, there you go.
You know what I told? You know what I told my wife?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm a married man, I can say this. What I said? Hey, babe, you want to go to my favorite Hawaiian island?
What is
I
your
said,
favorite
girls,
one?
come on, I want to lay ya. And she's normally like, you're so gross. I'm like, yeah, girl, you said that last night.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Every Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day. Yeah, man. So we're here again for the final,
Yeah, so we're number 7, right?
number 7. Final, last one.
I can't remember all of the topics, but please go
Yeah.
back and review the 7
Yeah.
episodes in season 7.
Yeah.
This is it for season 7.
about contingency.
Yeah, the last one was contingency, the no contingency life, but the whole series is a calibration
Yeah, calibration.
for your 2025, which I think is going to be amazing. And I truly do believe if you have worked hard and it didn't seem to count, Fernando and I both believe that it's going to count for
Yeah.
you in 2025.
Yeah, staying alive in 2025, coming alive
Coming alive.
in
Yeah, I like that.
2025, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I
And
like
we
that.
said
That's pretty good.
we've said a couple different things,
Yeah.
but tell me your idea with this particular.
So
episode
this
and project.
message, this may have literally, Fernando, been the original thought for the calibration. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other things were things that just sort of, I wanted it to be the culmination in our conversation. This Waterloo's going to have me burping here in a minute, but so it's strange how these things all fed into this particular topic. And the topic we're going to talk about today is that your life is a song.
Yeah.
And you are the mixing engineer. So we're going to dive into a little bit of music and some ins and outs. And Fernando and I are both blessed to be musicians.
Yeah.
How do you say drums in Spanish?
It's gonna
Bateria?
sound weird. Bateria, yeah.
No, I didn't mean to steal your
Yeah, that was
thunder.
good, yeah,
I didn't mean to
like
steal
battery,
your bass.
right?
Yeah, your bass pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me that. You taught me that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought. What was her name in high school? Spanish teacher.
Oh, Miss Marrero.
Yeah, Miss Morero.
Yeah.
I thought maybe
she
would've-
told me, acétate, acétate,
Sit down.
cállate.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you remember?
She would always say,
From your-
mira.
Mira. Look here. That's what that
she would
means.
say, mira. And then what was the second?
What was your name?
Oh, my name was Jorge. Because Jaime was taken.
Okay.
So it is what it is.
Who was Jaime?
Huh? I don't know who was Jaime, but I just know that I'm like, dude, you have my name.
Yeah, like
Right.
legit, like my
That's
name.
actually my name.
Yeah.
Right.
And you ended up with George.
I ended up with Jorge.
All right. We're not gonna call you Jorge, but Thank you, Miss Moreau, for
Man, what a great lady.
for so many years of content that we can still use today. The Spanish lessons,
That's right.
which leads to. I don't feel. I think she was one of those like straight shooters,
Pow.
right?
I love that lady. Yeah, that
Yeah,
lady, she laid it down, bro.
Yeah. In many ways, she could teach this course.
She could probably
She
have
could
taught
teach
this
this-
course.
yeah,
Yeah, she
for
didn't.
sure.
She was calibrated.
Yeah, she was calibrated.
Yes.
And she was tiny thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with us and calibration, just like you said, this being the soundboard of your life would make you what? What
Would make
be?
you, at least in this instance, let's talk, because we can talk about this two ways, Fernando.
tell
we
me.
can talk about it like a person who's mixing a song at home,
Okay.
like one that you've created.
Yeah.
And all of these, we're going to talk about what these faders would be for you in life.
Yeah.
Okay. If you know, picture a soundboard in your mind. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got one here, but we'll probably maybe blow this up for a minute while we're talking about it. We'll blow it up. Okay. Or there's also people who mix for a band. Now imagine you are the guy on the soundboard at the Art Theater here.
Yeah.
And you're dialing in this amazing performance, of which there will be many songs. Like in your life, there will be many seasons.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about you managing these faders, writing these faders so that you can maximize the master fader on the far right that all these faders fade into. They all pipe into that master fader, Fernando. And we're going to talk about why some bands seem like the sound guy can turn them up more.
Yeah.
Right. And what's going on and why that's even possible. It's going to be a great conversation. I'm excited.
I like it. So give us the idea of, I mean, you started, but what was it when this idea came into your mind? How did it?
I think I was actually mixing a song at home.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, it's crazy. The Lord bless. If you ponder on things and you meditate on life, like we believe, I bet we said it 35,000 times in this 7 weeks. We truly believe that things are being taught to us all the time if we only pay attention.
Yeah.
We're learning all the time. If you care to pay attention and be in the moment, your mind will be blown by God. I just believe that. Okay. So I was mixing a song and I started looking at like the drums and the guitar and the vocal. Now, most people who mix music know in the end, the bottom line is the vocal has to be out front enough for people to hear the singer. The singer is typically in the middle, but yet somehow separated from the other things that are in the middle, like the kick drum and the bass. Okay? So when you have your headphones on and you're listening, it always seems like you could close your eyes and the singer is standing a little bit forward of the entire band. So imagine, Fernando, in your life, every one of those people on that stage for the sound man, and this is just a generic version for the sake of metaphor, are assigned to one of these faders, typically, right? Who ain't ever? And I know you mix music for church.
At church, yeah.
You ever have one of them girls go, turn me up because this is about to be real.
Right.
You ever have one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them ladies on the worship team who I can't hear myself, and we got you all the way down, girl. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
Or no, anyway. But my point is, each one of those members of the band are dialed in perfectly by the sound guy, especially in a live music perspective.
Right.
So then, Fernando, I started thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is like my life. If I look at this soundboard, I could probably relate each one of these faders to something that's important to me in my life. And the level of attention that fader gets piped into my entire life, I get to control. And you know what, Fernando? I think I have to control it if I want to maximize that master fader on the end and get the most out of my life.
Yeah. I like that. I heard something about, I'm going to tell you what I took from it. Sometimes the front man,
Yeah.
right, the lead singer, a lot of times when we see our lives in a perspective where we're waiting, and I'm not saying every front man is like this, but let's say you're waiting for the applause before you do anything.
Yeah.
Let's say you're waiting to, for the accolade before you actually do any adjustment.
Yeah.
Then that is an example, guys, of living a life of contingency. Because at that point, you're waiting for that, those people to cheer you on.
Yeah.
That may never come.
Yeah. Oh, no way.
So
yeah, sure.
what I heard you say is there has to be consistency
Yeah.
with running the soundboard.
Absolutely.
So what does consistency, what would that look like?
Oh man, that's so good. So let's just give as people
just
who
as
are
an
musicians,
example. Yeah.
let's give people a little bit of understanding of sound. And I know we've talked about decibels in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from the science of music production, if you're at home mixing your own song,
Right.
there's actually a floor in audio that if your whole mix together, the sum total of all these voices or signals, each one independently working together to go out the master fader, if that hits zero, and you're like, zero, that doesn't make any sense. If that hits zero and then goes over zero, it's called clipping. Okay. And that means if you were the listener of that song, if you were watching this person mix this song and you were listening and you were enjoying this person's life, what you would notice is you would hear this
Right.
because there is a distance between the overall average of all these fader signal and the distance between that, the floor, which is going to be measured in negatives, and zero. And that distance is called headroom. And the reason we have that headroom, the reason it's flipped in the mind of a person who produces music is because it's much easier to define the floor of where the problem is if we make that floor zero.
Oh.
So then we tell the person who's mixing the song, keep that vocal at about a -8, right? Because zero is the point at which we clip.
And clipping would be what?
It would be this distortion that we don't want, like this. Not a good distorted guitar.
Right.
No, that's emulated distortion. What we're talking about is an unpleasant sound because you've passed the breaking point.
Right.
Oh, we're getting into some good stuff right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, Jay, if something's out of check, you can't push your life forward without approaching and damaging the breaking point. Oh, shiznit.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. If you're choosing to live a life with consistency and not conditions, that means that you're living a life to serve.
Right.
So like in what Jay was talking about, you're either you're serving, could possibly be love, maybe it's a hustle, let not by what's happening or by what you're expecting, but by what you want to do. And Jay said it best. It says, what I do don't depend on you.
Right.
I love when you said that. And I used that in one of the posts because that should be the motto of this episode. Because it's not what others do. It's what you do. It's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So that consistency that he's talking about with the faders, that makes a huge difference in your life. Not waiting on someone else to, make that adjustment for you. You make the adjustments.
Yeah, you're in charge of this soundboard, okay? So like, for example, a great example of this is if you go to a concert and there's 3 bands on the bill.
Yeah.
Who is the last band? The headliner, right?
Yeah.
They're always the best band. How many times have you been like, that sound man must really like that last band because they're the loudest?
Yeah, I wanted to hear you say this. Tell me more.
No, guys, that's not what happened. Yeah, he loves the last band. Yeah, they're louder. But do you know they're louder? Because all of these people, all of these faders, the guitar player, the bass player, the drummer, the banjo, the harmonica, the 7 singers, none of them are trying to prove to the audience that they're the best. So they're not pushing their levels to impress you because they're all in check. The distance between 0 and the overall average of the band is lower. So the sound man can maximize the experience for you because all of these are disciplined.
Listen to what I say.
So let's just say, Fernando, let's just get to the good stuff.
Right.
This fader's your wife. This fader's your job.
Right.
This fader is the way you take care of yourself. This fader is the food you eat.
And all at once, this entire episode started to make a lot of sense.
Really, really good.
This fader right here is your savings account. Can you imagine that in this particular song, which is like a season of your life, if for whatever reason, your job, you weren't taking care of business, and it was turned all the way up there, then you want to turn up your life a little bit. Yeah. You want to have some fun with your wife because you notice she's feeling a little neglected. You try to turn up your life, your song clips.
Yeah.
Because this portion of your life that I just brought up there closer to 0 isn't in control.
Right.
Now, Fernando, what could be a standard, a good fader example for you in your life, Fernando?
Yeah. So my example would be like fatherhood. So if I am tuning in to fatherhood, right, spending time with my family, that might mean that. So let's say this fader is fatherhood, family time, and this fader is golf. All right. So I'm playing golf with the boys.
Love this.
This fader might have to come down in order to meet the demand of spending, time with your loved ones. Let's say this fader now, the one that's here lower, comes up, and this is your career, right?
Yes.
And let's say this fader is faith, and your in respect to your walk with the Lord.
Yes.
Well, you can't do so much of this one, right? The career that this one goes all the way down here.
Yeah, you can't.
Because what happens is then if faith is down here, right? Your walk with God is down here, then what happens is this mix is going to be off.
Once more with feeling.
This mix is going to be off.
It's off, man.
Right? And then if the mix is off, the sound isn't going to be right.
No. And something's going to break. That's what's really scary.
And it'll distort the track, like what you were talking about.
Distort your track. Your song is jacked up.
Yeah. It'll distort your trajectory.
Absolutely.
So
and think about this. Think about some of the songs you love. Because you can break this up many ways in life. You could say, well, I've got a whole album. Right? You could say, you could think of it this way. You should think about this and apply it to your life. Or you could say like, well, I feel like I have this really long episodic song, and then there's this fast part, right? Where I could tell I'm living in this fast season of my life, but everybody loves that part, guys.
Yeah.
Where the song fades down, and it's just like you singing with your acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
That's your quiet time. So we could do this all kinds of ways. Watch a sound man at a live event. Okay? At a live event. You'll notice sometimes they put their fingers, and they kind of do it in this cool way. They use just their fingers. They don't meet this thing. They use their fingers, and they'll bring some things down because there's something else that deserves emphasis in the moment. And there are two ways that you make things prominent in your life. Yeah. Sometimes you turn them up. Sometimes you turn everything else down.
Glory. Oh, man.
Right?
Something was just downloaded in my spirit. Balance is key.
Yeah.
Recognition is not required.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, even though if you're at a live event, right, and like Jay was saying, they bring the faders down, and let's say it's a bass solo.
Yeah.
Do you think that guy playing the bass is looking for recognition?
No.
If he's looking for recognition, it's that's not what he's doing. There's a balance happening because the guy playing the drums is still on the one.
He does, right.
The other instruments are still doing their thing. It's just this perfect balance, right? And even when everything comes right back up and the music goes right back to where it needed to be, and then they might fade it down and someone else is, showing their skill.
Yes.
There's still a balance happening because it doesn't feel like out of place. It's an
Right.
experience that's happening, but all these things are in balance with each other. And that's kind of when I heard you talk about the faders going up, and I thought to myself, man, that's genius.
Yeah,
That's
thank
exactly
you.
what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing. And let's just say, now we'll shift into the mode of you're writing your own song, or you're the producer and you're in this room with all of these people who matter to you. Now,
Yeah.
Fernando said the bass player. Well, maybe in your song production of life, your son is your bass player. Right? There's going to be times that you're going to explain to the rest of the band, hey, it's time for little Johnny to shine a little bit.
Right.
But listen, guys, you can have that conversation in the control room.
Yeah.
And say, look, you look to your wife and you go, honey, next week we're flying to North Carolina to watch you run a race. You're going to shine in this song.
Yeah.
And everybody else's fader's going to come down. But I want you to know something. If you ask little Johnny to shine the same time your wife's running a race in North Carolina, your mofo song is going to clip. And you're going to break.
Right.
So as the leader in this moment, we need you to manage your soundboard. We need you to manage that master fader. We need you to manage these faders that all pipe into the master fader.
Yeah. Yeah. And doing that with no contingency might look like loving your wife even though she's having an off day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It might look like showing up for your kids and they don't say thank you.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's doing the best at work, even though nobody's giving you recognition for.
Yeah, all that stuff is
for
going
doing
in.
that.
Yeah,
the best.
absolutely.
Yeah, serving in your community, just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, what you're talking about is being the guy, also like ramping up his or her life. Right. That's because all of these things, right? All of these things are what is personal to you, so that you can be available on the master fader to ramp up your life and to not approach the clipping point. Right? So you're going to manage all those things so that you have the maximum ability to maximize your life on the master fader. That's why the last band sounds the best, because everybody knows their job.
Yeah.
The relationship is created with every fader.
Right.
And I don't like to use this term, but sometimes it makes sense because all of these faders know their lane. Right?
Yeah.
They stay in their lane. So there will be times where, I'll use these three together because they're doing nothing right now. This is your family right here, okay? And this is your two kids and your wife, or this is your career and the education you need to get for your career. Like there'll be this, we call these in the mixing world, we call these stems or subgroups. These are things that are linked together in your mix. Okay? They have a special relationship, right? And then these three things sometimes together. This whole group is here in the mix. But sometimes you need that career to jump out just a little, babe. Honey, for the next 6 months, we've got something we're going to work on. So I'm going to work a little overtime.
Yeah.
Right? Or honey, I've been working too much overtime. It's time to concentrate on you. It's time to go. Let's go take a trip together, just me and you. Right?
Yeah.
So there sometimes are things that it's almost like there's a relationship in this board that's part of the bigger relationship, but they're more closely related. You get to figure all this out, guys. It takes the utmost intentional paying attention, and it deserves it in your life right now.
Yeah. What you were saying about there was another button over here, what'd you call this again? What's the term in the industry?
Oh, the master fader.
Okay, so the master fader reminds me of a scripture that I wrote here in Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working unto the Lord, not for human masters, because you're not mixing for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
you're mixing for the master engineer.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
this is it's like he'll handle the spotlight.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just focus on the sound. You focus on making sure that these faders are balanced. And that's the most important thing. Sometimes we get all caught up with the master.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
with this one right here with the master
Yeah.
fader, which, like you said, it's not on this particular mixing board, but we worry about doing this one, and then and all these other
exactly
faders
right.
fall off track. So that's very important to make sure that these are on track. Let the master engineer worry about that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
And what's beautiful too is, Fernando, like when you start, dive into this, you're going to find out that in the musical world, hey man, these guys are all here, and I'm not even going to manage this fader, but there's a little something special sauce I can put on this one, right?
Yeah.
It's an EQ, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this thing for my friend Fernando that even though I don't have to push his fader anymore, he's going to shine a little bit because he's going to have prominence in this one area without any more effort. That could be prayer for Fernando.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in your song,
Yeah.
you're not showing up for Fernando anymore. He doesn't know. You take this thing in the musical world we call a filter,
Okay.
and you put it on Fernando, and it differentiates him from the other people in his subgroup without pushing his level anymore.
Yeah.
So you maintain this boundary that's healthy between your entire mix and zero, right? But it's, you've said it like 5 times. It's all about balance in this era of your life, which you may say is my song, you may say is my album,
Right.
you may say is my 10-second clip. You can make it whatever you want to make it, but the most important thing is that you've created this room between you and the breaking point. Because if you don't have these in check, this is what I love. They're all affected by the one that's not in check.
Wow.
The whole song is distorted because one of these faders is out of control.
Yeah, you might be worried about that master control.
Yes.
But this is where
It's all here.
this is where the music really gets purpose.
Yes.
You know, this is the purpose. The purposeful stuff is the faders. Like living without contingencies doesn't make you passive. It actually makes you powerful. You know. So if you're not just I wrote it here. It says you're not just a man. You're a mix master. And when you produce with purpose and balance, your life becomes a song worth listening to.
Now, I am of the personal opinion that Fernando has the ability to sum up the entire episode in a single statement. So let's listen one more time.
And when you produce with purpose and balance, your life becomes a song worth listening to.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right? So
That's it, man.
Yeah, sometimes we're too worried about all the big knob.
The big knob.
The big,
Yeah.
right?
We're worried about the big knob.
Yeah, we're worried about that, but not worried about like the little faders that your family, your faith,
Yeah.
your kids, and all the little nuances in between that, and making sure that those are in balance.
Yeah.
Because those are. Be honest, guys. Like that stuff, it's really easy to fall out of balance, right? You used today. I used the golf analogy, but you used one where softball, where the guys. He's on like 7 different softball leagues.
Yeah.
During the week.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you remember that a little
yeah,
bit?
he's like, yes, I do remember us talking about that.
Yeah, so he's on all these leagues and he's never home.
Yeah, he could have been in just 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And managed his desire with his new responsibilities in life.
Yeah.
But it's like, for whatever reason, his overcorrection has him in 6 or 7 leagues.
Yeah.
And now this thing that he loves to do is resented by his family.
Yeah.
Instead of it weaved
Yeah.
responsibly into his life.
Yeah, he could have did.
That's right.
Yeah.
That would be one of his faders.
That would be one of his favorites.
Right up to the noise floor.
Yeah, yeah. Join instead of joining 7, join 2.
Yeah.
Make one of the days where the whole
Yeah.
family can come watch.
Yeah, one of them's
and then-
co-ed with your wife.
Yeah.
Right?
One of them's co-ed with your wife, and then
Yeah.
the other one, everyone gets to come. And guess what happens after that game?
Yeah.
you guys all go out to eat at
Go
the
eat some
favorite
hot dogs or
restaurant,
something,
or
man.
whatever that looks like. So yeah, that was a really good reminder of making sure that you keep the faders in check. Keep them all where they need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
Thought
Anything
there
else that you wanted to
Yeah, there
hit
was-
up on?
There was something you were saying that was making my mind reel a little bit. Oh, this is it. I love it. See, we bounce off of each other because Fernando says something beautiful to me, and I say something,
Yep,
something
same thing.
rather decent looking to him. And then Fernando said something I think that's so important. You said that this is for you. Like
Yeah.
this song is,
it's your
it's
song.
literally for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you listen to some of the world's greatest music producers, they constantly tell people, don't try to be anyone else. And I know that sounds cheesy, like cheesy advice, but what they're trying to say is that be uniquely you and make your song. And don't worry about pleasing other people. Right? Like you may think, oh my God, I got to make it louder because I'm not shining enough on Facebook. So you push that master fader that Fernando is saying, let God do that work over there, right? Let him maximize your life, right? Yeah. Because all of the magic is in the mix. Oh. They will tell you all the time when you send your song off to get mastered, which is somebody taking the advantage of that gap between your mix and zero and maximizing your song. They say, my job as a mastering engineer is so easy when this is all managed properly. Yeah. The glue of the song is done over here, guys. If you want to turn up your mix, if you want God to maximize your mix, you've got to get all these things. You've got to name them. Mm-hmm. You've got to name them. Yeah. Right? You've got to give your song, this season of your life, a name, and you've got to name these faders, and you have to manage them. And I don't mean micromanage them. I mean give them the attention they deserve. Yeah. Right?
I love that. And for me, I just want to finish up with what you do depends on you.
Yeah.
I love
we can't get off that contingency's still in our head. I know.
Yeah, I just love that because it goes with all this. Yeah. Like what you do right here. Yeah. It all depends on you. Don't worry about this whole other thing. Let God, like you said, let our Creator worry about that. Yeah, man. He'll maximize your life. All the magic happens in these faders.
Get that mix right to keep that song tight. I know you're like, Jay, those are lame.
Jay,
I don't know, man.
Those are good.
I don't know, but I'm going to use it. So
yeah, I like
what it is. My name's Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
This has been the Mental Edge Podcast.
And we out.
Sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Edge Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Until next week, we out.